Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Well, gentlemen. Welcome to the Actors Area, the place where you can find not only cutting edge, but inspirational acting insight. And it's geared towards helping you to be the very best performer that you possibly can. Actor, actress, singer, musician, performer, every performer, all alike. Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. I'm having a wonderful weekend. Happy to be with you here today. Didn't know I was going to have some time to plug in and get connected on the weekend, but some time opened up yesterday and today, and I'm happy and excited and thrilled to be with you. All right, so today's topic, live, breathe, audition. I know it sounds like eat, pray, love, but there's a method to this madness. And the reason why I titled it Live, Breathe, Audition is because it has to be in that order if we are to not only succeed at it, but to become experts. And if you're really, really looking to excel as an actor, as a performer, and I've said this before, but it goes without saying, you have to make it a point to be pretty much an expert at auditioning, because auditioning becomes our outlet into, one, booking a job, but it's not limited to that. The next thing is it becomes an outlet to building a relationship with a casting director or a production company that could last your entire career. You know, you go in to audition one day and these people fall in love with you, and next thing you know, you're consistently being called to be in their productions or to participate in some way, shape, or form. And so we have to know that there's a lot, not necessarily pressure, but there's a lot of significance relying on the audition itself. So when I say live, breathe, audition, what I mean is you have to ensure that you're spending at least a couple hours a day doing something that's going to make you greater to that degree. Okay? Because if you're not, here's what's going to happen. And I know the first thing that comes to mind is, holy shit, I don't have that kind of time to spend a couple hours a day on it. Well, here's what you find when you're really passionate about something. You make time. And all of a sudden, time begins to open up for you when you're really passionate, because passion has this ability to just basically not only knock down doors, but fucking run through them and like shatter the hell out of any barriers that may be standing in your way. So you got to find how you're going to do this, okay? How you're going to make this a point to make it as important as breakfast, make it as important as lunch, make it as important as brushing your teeth. Because when you do that, I promise you it's going to pay off. And it's going to pay off in a major way, because you will be so many steps ahead of everyone else in the game, in the industry. And so when we think about, especially, I'm in South Florida now, and I've had an opportunity to kind of peep the acting sort of game here in South Florida. And it's actually really good, but it's nowhere near as competitive. And I say competitive meaning if you're in LA, if you're in New York, if you're in London, if you're in Atlanta now, you've got to figure out how you're going to stand out. And stand out is a matter of becoming so great at something that you just pick up on things that other people don't see. That's another reason why you spend a lot of time doing something. Give you an example. Back when I was playing football, which was basically my first love, and, you know, I would spend, honestly, maybe, and this is like even in high school, like 4 to 5 hours a day becoming a better football player. making sure I did everything I needed to become great. And it was absolutely the greatest time of my life. Other than auditioning right now, I've never been so passionate about something as much as I was about football. And so I can remember New Orleans is probably one of the hottest places in the country during summer. And you're talking about 90-degree heat with an index of 118 or something like that, something ridiculous. But every single day I went outside and I had my little brother with me who was just awesome because some days I don't even know if I would have gotten through it, but he pushed me and he really kind of contributed to me being the athlete I am today. But yeah, so I went out and I ran sprints and I caught balls. I caught hundreds and hundreds of balls. I, did hand-eye coordination exercises. I did plyometrics. I pulled tires. I ran hills. I pushed my pickup truck. I did all these things. And then when I was done with that, I would go and watch film to see film of players like Jerry Rice and Deion Sanders, if you're familiar with the NFL, to see how they were implementing their skill, how they moved. And when I tell you I downloaded hundreds of thousands of hours of football wisdom and knowledge. And so my point is, stay with me, that when you do that, there's certain things that happen when you step onto the field. So you can look at a player and tell if he does a lot in the off season. You can tell if he's really dedicating his time to being the best because he has an acumen for things that most people don't have, and you take him and you put him up against a guy who basically only works on what he needs to and only prepares for the games. It's going to be an enormous amount of separation. I'm about to say light years, but it'll be an enormous amount of separation within the performance if you have a person who makes this his life or part of his life and also being in balance, as opposed to somebody who only decides to study their craft when they're called upon. And so what happens is you begin to see things. It's almost like when you're really putting in the hours and you're really putting in the time and you're passionate about it, you can see things from a 360-degree perspective, which means that it goes all the way around you, right? All the way around you, even behind your head. Whereas if you're not, and you're only doing it when it's convenient, then you kind of only have that 180 view. So you kind of miss certain stuff. And I realize this getting back to auditioning. So it's kind of the same thing when it comes to auditioning and acting, but definitely auditioning because that's what gets our foot in the door. When we are really putting in those hours, we're really putting in that time and really just, busting our butts day after day to become greater, become more connected to the art. We start to pick up on things that other people don't pick up on. We start to see things that other people don't see. And this is all with when you put time and energy into something. Everything in life is like that. Even with relationships, you put time into it, you pick up on stuff that the other person, appreciates or likes that can make the relationship better. But if you're not spending any time with them, you're not going to recognize any of that. You're just going to be, I'm lost, So that's why it's important to live, breathe, and audition, because if we're adding that time in, and it can be anything as, pull out a script. You don't even need to put it on camera, but you can put it on camera to see how you're doing. Pull out a script and start breaking it down like you're breaking it down for an audition. Pull out your iPhone. Like we have all this technology nowadays. Pull out your iPhone, okay, and start recording yourself. Start recording yourself as if you were auditioning. Like what I like to teach is I might come up with a monologue right on the spot. And this will be another podcast topic later, but I also teach how to do your own monologue so you can actually feel the material. But just create up a monologue on the spot and record it and see what you pick up from it. And this is it's like working a muscle. You work a muscle enough, that muscle will be strong, dense, and solid. Tony Robbins, and I love Tony Robbins, and he once said, he was at one of his conferences, and he says that, I know when somebody's putting in the work and when somebody's not. It's like fitness. Like, I can look at a guy or a girl and know if they're going to the gym or not, or if they're just kind of like wasting away, not really even stepping into the gym, not even worrying about it. I can look at them and see. And that's what's going to happen when you go in for an audition and a casting director can look at you and look at your performance and see that you're putting in the time. And that's all you have to do. People think so much in life is hard. It's not about it being hard. It's just a matter of putting in the time and the effort so you can catch the things and accumulate and resonate with the things that most people won't see. That's why it's important to become an expert. That's why it's important to be in a place to where you are completely cognizant of your craft, but you're also moving from the heart and from an intuitive place, because from there, you and it are able to become one. And that's what we're reaching for. That's what we're shooting for. And that takes a couple of hours out of the day. That takes time to figure out, okay, what am I going to do as it relates to this? How am I going to be better? And if I'm in Los Angeles, or I'm in New York, or even, hell, it doesn't even matter. You're still competing, even if you're in like Ohio or market or something like that. Like, you're still competing with other people to try to get, certain roles. So you have to give yourself the upper hand, because you never know who you're sitting in front of. And you can be sitting in front of somebody who has come from one of those big markets, has come to your market, and you give them the very best audition they've ever seen. And all of a sudden, they're putting you in every single film that they're doing. They get a film like, oh, yeah, definitely. He was awesome. His audition was off the charts. If nothing else, they want to bring you back in to audition for another film. And that's why we put in the time now before we start booking all these amazing roles. We put in the time now, so when the requests to auditions come in, then we're like on top of it. We're killing it. We're knocking it down one right after the other, and doing it with flair, doing it with the essence of somebody who understands the craft, who understands the whole entire concept of the audition. And that's what makes me so passionate about it, because I know that this is possible. And it's not only possible, it's simple. Yet the difficult part comes in when you start to realize, what are you going to give up? And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, you don't have to give up your relationship or anything like that. But the hard part comes in when you're like, okay, am I going to give up a couple nights going out with the fellas or the ladies? Am I going to give up watching my favorite TV show? Am I going to give up, perusing Facebook and like looking at stuff and being entertained on social media and Instagram? Like, now, I'm not saying you got to give these up completely, but you've got to establish priorities, because your life's going to reflect the choices that you're making. And if you don't like what you see, then you've got to change things. See, I had to change things, because what I realized a time ago, that I was spending way too much time watching TV. I was so dialed into sports and stuff that it was keeping me from devoting the time to my passion. And when I didn't like where I was, when I didn't like where my career was going, that's when I had to turn it around. I was like, you know what? They're already on TV. I'm doing my best to get to that point. So I gotta switch some things up. And that's what I did. Drinking. It's always fun to go have a beer with your friends, or just kind of have a glass of wine and kick it with the ladies. It's always a good time to do that. But maybe once a week, as opposed to a few times a week, because you want to study, or you want to write out certain stuff. Want to even try to write a short screen, a 5-page short film, not a short screen, that will help you. That's another thing. See, what we don't realize a lot of times because we're not taught, but if you become a writer, if you start to write scripts even without having like the right protocol, because that's bullshit. There's always somebody who can be there to help you through the process. But if you have the right concept and the right idea to write a script, that can help you to become a better actor, a better auditioner. Because if you can understand what the writer's saying, you can convey it to an audience, right? It's important. So we have to continually put ourselves into a place to where we're making auditioning, acting a priority. And the priority means that you're spending a couple hours a day, if not more, onto it. You may be able to spend 4 or 5 hours. If you can do that and do that for an elongated period of time, you will be so far ahead of everybody else out there. You will carry yourself in a different way because confidence comes from being enamored into a concept so in-depthly. Okay? So, what are you going to do? What are you going to take out of your life? How are you going to make this a priority? I'm holding you to it because I want to see you succeed, no matter where you are. I want to see you succeed. I want to see you in big films. I want to see you on stage, in these Broadway plays. I want to see you excelling in a way that not only fulfills you, but allows you to get to a place to where you want to inspire other people to do the same. And when you do that, it's just a cycle of love, a cycle of divinity that continues to circulate through and around you. And it's going to make your life more enriched, make your life more full of love. It's definitely worth it. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Have a wonderful day. Talk soon. Take care.